A story that I saw today flash up on my Facebook page, and it absolutely revolted me. As you know, the title is Granny 83 Mauled to Death by Pitbulls. I tell you what makes it even worse. My grandmother is actually visiting me at the moment in the Caribbean, in Grenada. Where we are, we're about half an hour on a flight from Trinidad, which is where my parents are from. So, and of recent times, my wife got attacked 3 times in 3 days by the same dog. We had to call the police because this dog was just very aggressive. And we have a rule in Grenada that if the dog is on the road, you are more than entitled to hit it as hard as you can, because that dog should be tied up. Now, in the Caribbean, dogs roam around the streets like they're human beings. They just go about their business. They go out and they chill out, they relax. They walk around the street like human beings. And so therefore, unlike the UK and maybe the US, where you've got people come around collecting dogs, it doesn't happen in the Caribbean. And this business about people walking around with dogs and putting dogs on leads is unheard of in the Caribbean. Dogs have a life of their own and they fend for themselves. So this story is actually from Trinidad, which makes it worse. And as you'll hear, it's not a very good story at all. 3 pit bulls this afternoon attacked and mauled to death an 83-year-old woman. Sylvia Roberts was savaged by the dogs as she stepped out of her home in Archibald Street, Tunapuna, to check her mail. Her screams brought neighbours who called the police. However, although officers arrived within minutes, the woman was already dead in the front yard. Officers who got the distress call at around 1:15 p.m. shot and killed all 3 animals. The dogs are said to belong to the woman's 43-year-old son, who was at work at the time. The Trinidad Express was told that the dogs are unleashed during the day and allowed to roam about the secure compound. Last August 26, 84-year-old grandmother Lillian Bernstein was bitten to death by a pit bull which escaped the family's kennel at La Sevilla Road, Marvel. No criminal action was taken against anyone in that case. Last week, Attorney General Anadan Ramlogan said government would be moving for the immediate proclamation of some aspects of the Dog Control Amendment Act. The act was passed in the Senate by 15 votes for 8 against and 5 abstentions. All 15 government senators voted in favour of the measure, whilst all 6 PNP senators, along with 2 independents, Senator Elton Prescott and Ian Roach, voted against, and 5 independents, Senator Ramel Lequan, Helen Drayton, Dolph Balgobin, Mambeer and David Small abstained. Ramlogan said he gave instructions for the regulation to be prepared in consultation with the Ministry of Local Government. I also intend to proclaim with immediate effect some aspects of the law, for example, the criminal offence for those persons who abandon their pit bulls in the streets. He said this action will put at risk the lives of innocent citizens. He said the Minister of Local Government is working hard to address the capacity issues at the various dog pounds. On the fact that the Independent did not support the bill, Ramlogan said that it was clear that they were not against the measure but had reservations about the breed-specific policy behind their legislation, which only targeted pit bulls and 2 other breeds of dogs. Ramlogan said to criminalise all dogs would be a social disaster and to subject all dog owners to the conditions and restrictions in legislation. The financial costs and severe penalties was impractical, unrealistic and harsh. Look, I'm reading this, I'm getting emotional as it is, because I don't think the issues with the dog, I don't think dogs are naturally aggressive. I think you've got to look who's controlling the lead at the end of the lead, which are these owners. And these owners, I think, should be slung into prison. The fact that these owners are so irresponsible with their dogs, they're training these dogs to be aggressive and to go for people. And I think that the owner of this dog should be slung behind bars and the key should be thrown away. You decide to take a dog on in your life, you take on a responsibility. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't blame the dogs here, I blame the owners. The owners are to blame. So 3 pit bulls have had to be put down because of an owner who doesn't know different, as well, dog who does know different, and has allowed their dog to be aggressive to the point where it's attacking people in the public. Now, I understand having a dog to protect you, especially in Trinidad, which is known for its crime, to protect your family and your home. That's one thing. And if a criminal were to step onto your property, well, fair play, let the dog go for it. But when you've got members of the public going about their business that have to be living fair, or to be concerned about a dog and concerned about getting bitten and bitten to death. And, politics is a funny thing. Something like this is so basic. People need to be able to walk the streets without fear, without concern of a dog. No, what we're getting is these people now, these politicians, who knows? I don't know why they would not do something to protect the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. There's enough crime on the streets as it is. They don't need now dogs causing grief on the streets as well. Let me know what you think. It's been a tough one for me to report, because the reality is that could have been my grandmother, that could have been your grandmother, and what is that person going to say to you who owned that dog afterwards? I'm sorry does not bring those dogs back, and does not bring back your poor grandmother. So for me, it's a sad story, and Trinidad need to, not only Trinidad, the whole of the Caribbean, we need to look at the aspect of dogs, and dogs are just roaming freely. I will also add this, that dogs I have seen in the Caribbean, or in Grenada at least, where in the UK you see dogs chasing after cats, I've seen many dogs and cats living in harmony. Dogs, cats and birds all living in harmony and not chasing one another. So that's even a deeper thing as to why dogs and cats are not chasing one another, fighting one another and living in harmony. Very interesting. Is it a cultural thing? Does that go back to the owners and what the owners are like? Let me know what you think. Rate, subscribe and leave your comments. I'm out.